Who's there? Oh, it's you. Come on in. Have a seat. Want a coffee? Hello and welcome to another sit-in at Tailor-made scale modeling. Gentlemen, thank you very much for your overwhelming response to my first sit-in feature, and it was quite easy to convince myself to continue this and turn this into a series of talks, chats, and yeah, this is what we'll be doing. Of course, with a lot of waffle, there should be the coffee, and as promised, showing you another one of my mugs. Well, let's see if we can find a good spot so you can see him. This is the first ever mug I got myself as a traveling souvenir, and this is how it all got started, with this mug from Shanghai. I traveled to China, say, more than I can count on the top of my head, because I've been doing it for a decade, and there's been 2 trips a year minimum in the very beginning, and by the end of it I would travel to China about 5-6 times a year, and this was from my very first visit to Shanghai. This cup's all scratched up, and you can see the colors bleached a bit from multiple washing in the machine, but this is still very dear to my heart, because it's the the foundation stone of the collection I have. All right, and there we go. Hot, very good. All right, yeah. So I thought, after the great response from you guys to my first sit-in feature, it would be only natural that on the second sit-in I give a little introduction as to who I am. My name is Guido Hopp. You can say Guido, that's okay with me, but here in Germany we just say Guido Hopp. I'm 45 years old as I record this, and I'm married. I have a 10-year-old son, and I live in the very western part of Germany, about a 30-minute drive from the Dutch border, on the very northern rim of the Rhine-Ruhr area. Most modelers will know the Rhine-Ruhr area, or the Ruhrgebiet as we call it, because of its importance as the industrial heartland of Germany during Second World War and after. And my little town here is at the northern rim of it. North from here there's only the Niederrhein and the Münsterland, and Duisburg is to the south of my little town. Probably that rings a bell for some of you who are into air warfare and such, because coal and steel industry was located right here. Well, I've been asked plenty of times how a German guy gets to an Italian name, because most of you out there would say that Guido or Guido is an Italian name, and that by the use of it, it may be true, but actually that name is as German as can be, because it's deriving from the Germanic word Wido, W-I-D-O, no, W-I-D-O, yes, W-I-D-O, which translated means the son of the forest. And as far as I have been able to ascertain, that name was imported as a fashion name into Italy in the Middle Ages, when the biggest European reign was the Holy Roman Empire of German nations. So Italy was a part of the German Empire, and the Kaiser was sitting here in Germany. So from Wido, W-I-D-O, to Guido, there's not a big leap actually, and you can probably imagine that through flexes and changes in speaking style during the centuries, this name changed a lot into, yeah, well, what it is today, Guido or Guido. All right, this is it about my name. I have been modeling for about 15 years now. I started in 1999, and well, I have to say I restarted in 1999. Like many of you, I built Matchbox and Airfix kits when I was 8 or 9 or 10 years old, and gave that up when girls became more interesting than putting plastic pieces together. In that respect, many of the young guys today have it more easy, because if I look at the girls, some of them are actually plastic too. Okay, sorry about that. No, cannot really say that. Really? No, can I? Okay. It's just, if you're wondering what I'm doing here, it's these are just still parts of the North Africa group build for Nigel Wells, and I'm still building the Flak 41, and I'm in the finishing stages of putting the major sub-assemblies together, and there's this one last part I have here, and it needs all these tiny additions of photo etch here, which I kind of find annoying because there's so many of them. I hate repetitive work, really, and this is repetitive work at its worst. Okay. Yeah, well, you've been tremendously gracious in your response to my first sit-in feature, and so I was thinking how to develop the idea, but I will just for now leave it what it is, so I can allow it to develop over into something else probably over time. So yeah, what keeps me going these days? Now that you know me a little better by name and location, yeah, well, you know, you have seen my workplace already, and So what I'm doing is I'm having my small computer here and I'm watching YouTube videos like the one from Aaron Newland and Cohen C and Carlos Mendez, Storm, Norm, Beck Randalls and so on. And I'm sitting here doing my modeling, listening to you guys and let myself be inspired by what you say. Loving that Beck Randalls has returned to his rants, like the rant on being selfish a lot. It's just interesting to see how many things happen in our life and we hardly even give it a thought. And so I really truly enjoy Grandal's sharing his perspective on things. And well, I can't help but agree with him in many things. Well, he knows there's a couple of things that we do not agree in, but I'll save that for a later rant, or a later second probably. There was something, yeah, you see I'm taking notes on post-its and stick them to my workbench, so I'm never running out of topics to speak about. This is a note I took. Chancellor North Wales. He hasn't been online as much as he used to a couple of months ago, but whenever he's up, he's sharing very interesting perspective on the hobby and how the hobby develops, and it's always very, very useful to listen to him, if you identify yourself beyond the mere sticking together of plastic and little metal parts. It's very valuable to listen to his opinion. I mean, he's really been in the hobby, I think, for many more years than I have, and so his perspective on the development and the changes in the hobby are very valuable to me. I hope you share my opinion, and if you don't, well, okay. If you don't know him, Chancellor NW, Chancellor North Wales. That's where you have to take a look. I wish he had a little bit higher resolution videos. It's a little bit old school what we get to see, but that's not the important part in watching his videos. Listen to what he has to say. Okay. Next topic, next post-it. Aaron Newland just during the past week published a video where he gave a response to an earlier video he made where he kind of complained about the use of what I call the convenience products of modeling, which are the pre-made and pre-blended pigments, washes, and so on. And he returned on that topic probably because he had received quite a bit of feedback on that, and he just clarified that he did not dislike the products as much as the attitude these products have created in the hobby over the past years. And this I absolutely have to agree upon. I think in many aspects the hobby has become less fun if you look at the community outside of this YouTube community. I think it's very, very surprising that in such an open community such is here on YouTube, you'll find that the people are most tolerant and most allowing about opinion and voicing them and speaking the peace of mind that you have. You know, it's much more open than any written forum I've ever joined within these last 1.5 decades I've been modeling. It's very nice to see that everybody is really, really trying hard to get along. Sometimes it's a little bit, you know, it takes funny forms really, that whenever you voice an opinion, you on the same instant you feel obliged to excuse yourself for having that opinion and not wanting to intrude on anybody else's opinion or allowing everybody else to their opinion. It's a little bit, yeah, well, childish, I guess. I mean, most of us are grown-ups, and we should take that for granted, actually. And you know, if I want to talk to somebody in total agreement with me, then I had to talk to my mirror, because that's probably the only person I'm seeing there who is in total agreement with me. I'm happy enough to agree on most of things in life with my wife. I tend to get the feeling that I'm increasingly get little more or less and less agreement with my son, but you know, that's puberty's sweet wings spreading their wing. Well, just me blabbering. No, of course he's trying to get himself to develop into his own person, and according to Freud, he has to fight me. Well, son, I'm ready. I'm here for you. But believe me, I will put up less of a fight than you probably think. Because I hopefully have done a few things right in your education, and you will hopefully make the proper choices in your life, or the, let's say, the morally correct choices in your life, because that's the only thing we would actually be fighting about if you do morally doubtful things with your life. Everything else, it's up to you. All right. Yeah, well, attitude. Aaron Newland. Oh, you see how much I derail on talking. Absolutely annoying. But that's me. Aaron Newland and his opinion on what the hobby expects us to do. Well, it's a stupid thing to say, but that's probably the closest thing that comes to truth. Is actually if you compare your models with somebody else's in a direct competition, a lot of what is considered to be an effort today is based on products. And I agree with Aaron Newland that is a development in the hobby that can be considered problematic, because what we do in this hobby is creating our own small world with our craftsmanship and our fantasy and the things that we deem to be pleasing. And if you, from the outside, be evaluated by how much money you threw at a project, and if you used the state-of-the-art tools and products to make your model stand out, then I absolutely have to agree that is not a good development in our hobby, really, because the more we are nailed down to having to choose certain products and product ideas, the less creativity is allowed, and the more uniform we become. I mean, if you look at some of the models in the competitions, in the bigger competitions, then you will find that sometimes it's really hard to see any character of the builder of the model, because everything is AKA interactive or MIG. Yeah, it's like all the ladies using the same lipstick, and all the ladies wearing the same eyeliner and the same hair dye, and in the end it's everybody looks like a clone. Well, I have to admit that I'm pretty lazy in this aspect, and I really dig using convenience products in my modeling, because the only one I have to please is myself with this. And if I'm lucky, people agree with me that the final result of the modeling process is pleasing to the eye and is special in some way, in whatever way. Of course, that I use the same eyeliner and lipstick for my models may not actually make them very individual, but when I look at it, well, you know, I like it. But it's always a bad thing that if you and your art is being evaluated in a way of how many products you have actually used to achieve a certain result. Same thing, same as Aaron Newland says, same thing goes for the use of photo etch and resin bits and so on. I am a total fan of photo etch. I'm a total fan of resin parts to a certain extent, because if it keeps me from finishing a model, because I'm totally burning myself out by going on for month and month and month to finish something, that's not a good thing. Finishing something is a very, very important part of the process of model building. I mean, there are probably quite a few models actually who have more models or started kits on the shelf of doom than they have in their cabinet finished. And I think, I dare say, there's a whole lot of them. Yeah, not being able to finish anything because they burn themselves out in attaching stuff to their model kits that doesn't probably even make any sense. It's a pity. It's really a pity, because there are quite a few modelers out there who have the proper idea and have the proper methodology. Can I say that? But they just do not have the stamina to follow their own project through, and that's just a pity. I'm just not only because of the money they spent on it, and which is actually doomed to be rotting on the shelf, never to be finished, to be at a certain point be boxed and then, you know, either thrown away or maybe put on eBay as a shelf queen and go for just a little money. But all of the good ideas that are lost in the process, it's not nice. It's really not nice. And I'd rather say finish something without anything special once in a while. Just do the fantastic kits that are coming out today, even, you know, especially the ones from like Revell, like Aaron said, the 32nd scale 109, the latest release. It's dirt cheap compared to the high technological things that hit our market with ever rising velocity. They're coming quicker and quicker and quicker, and nobody is able to build them because they're taking up more and more time. Yeah, if you have a 109 with I don't know, 100 parts, that's probably a lot of fun modeling these, and you get finished, I don't know, within 3 or 4 weeks if you're a slow modeler like me. But if you're having a 109 with 300 parts or 400 parts or 500 parts, when are you supposed to finish these? I mean, just do the math. Yeah, take this giant US tank that was just released. I don't know who released that. I mean, the one with 4 tracks and huge thing. That's more than 1,000 parts. Yeah. Now do the math. Handle and clean up and construct only 1 minute for each individual part. The only thing you need now to know if you ever finish that model is a calculator. How many hours do you have to put in if you handled each part only for 1 minute in total? And that's not a lot of time. Yeah, there are probably some pieces that will need a half a minute, and there are probably pieces that will need 5. And in the end, it will take a very, very, very long time to get anything finished at all. If you ever. Because, I mean, if you go on, like I did on my Graf Spee, 10 months, yeah, that was on and off, because after some time it's just like, whoa, you want to do something different. You want to see something different. Well, you know, most plastic modelers do. I mean, if you look at wood chip modelers, for example, who spend 4 or 5 years on a model in continuous work, or probably even a decade. It's, I mean, this is a different breed. These are not the folks I'm talking about. I'm talking about, you know, Joe Guy, like me, wants to have a hobby. You know, sit in the basement, get away from work and the more annoying things in life and just do something that is fun, that keeps him occupied and distracted, and probably makes him meet a number of nice folks on the internet. That's me. I'm not modeling anything for 5 years. This is why I've not engaged myself in a major scratch building project, as I had many plans for in the past years, but I never did anything big. I did a number of scratch build projects, but small ones that would cover probably 2 or 3 months, and that's it. All right, look at that. That's kind of neat, isn't it? Okay. Good. So, now I am pretty much finished with putting together all the sub-assemblies for the gun, and next step will be the Sonderanhänger to show my beautiful gun here in a traveling position, because that's what is my plan. Wait. All right. Well, you know, if you want to look at the progress I've made on the flak, you will have to look at my update number 2 for this project, for the group build, because I do not like to mix these issues too many times. Those guys interested in the progress of the group build I'm doing are probably not interested in listening to me yakking for 45 minutes, so I spare them with the aggravation of doing that, and will be publishing a separate update. Indeed. Master, it is finished. Yeah. Next page. This is it. And then we're starting with the Sonderanhänger. Yeah. So far, this has been nice. This has been the Bronco part, and I will be shifting into the Dragon part of this build. All right. Let me see if there's another topic I can talk about. Oh. Well, the inspiration for these sit-ins will be coming from you guys. I hope you reply to my postings. I hope you will give me good feedback, and the feedback will always serve me to develop new ideas for the future sit-ins. And as well, you inspire me with your work. So please, by all means, go ahead and post your progress of your ongoing builds. I have heard a number of times that, well, you know, my stuff is not that good, and I'm not telegenic, and I can talk openly. I can tell you this is a learning experience, my friends. Of course, it's always been said that if I die, you have to beat my mouse to death separately, well after I'm dead, because I can't stop myself talking if I stop. And some of you who know me, who have met me, probably in Tailor or at other modeling shows, can sign that off very easily. But talking to a camera with nobody there to look at and giving you no direct feedback, it's difficult for me. And if you feel it's difficult for you, then I can only say go, try, do it. At a certain point you will get the hang of it. And the more of us doing this here on the YouTube, the more fun we're gonna have. Okay, so before I'm starting the new chapter of this build, I'm saying thank you for stopping by, and I certainly hope that you will be following the ongoing build, the North Africa group build, and my back in time feature, as well as the sit-in. Thank you very much for joining me again. Let me know what you think about this feature, and we'll be hopefully meeting very soon here at the next sit-in.